Hello and welcome back to another episode of Sexology Podcast. I am so excited and honored to welcome my friend and one of my wonderful colleagues, Melissa Dumas. Melissa, welcome to our show.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Nazanin. It's awesome to be here and to have this conversation with you today.
We actually had this conversation so many times together for our listeners that Melissa and I used to co-facilitate, co-moderate several rooms in Clubhouse during the pandemic. And it was one of the topics that we're talking about. And especially with Melissa, she works with lots of high achieving parents. And when I got these questions from you guys, I thought this would be a great opportunity to have her on our show. The other challenge that I see at times with some couples is that finding time to have sex. Like even if you're divvying up the task, you both are involved, the dynamic has changed and also your responsibility has changed. So how can people manage to find time to be intimate?
That's a great question. I think that is just like many things that we're talking about today, it is individual based and couple based. I've even recommended to some clients, they've talked about how their children sleep in the mornings and how in the household, the mornings are so quiet and so still and that they appreciate that time. And that one of the main complaints has been having sex at night has been difficult because one partner falls asleep. And I said, have you considered morning sex? And they both had these light bulb moments like, oh my gosh, we didn't think about that. Like the kids are sleeping, it's quiet, it's still, we're both awake, we're not sleepy and tired and drained from the day. And so rather than seeing lovemaking as something that has to happen at a set time, at night or at bedtime or when we're together, to open your mind to the idea of lovemaking happening in other ways. It could be the start of your day rather than the end of your day. If you have support where you can maybe go and visit the other person at their office, then have a little office nookie. There are other times to consider, and then. And, instead of lunch break where you're going out to eat McDonald's, have a lunch break where you're enjoying each other. And the other options too are showers. I recommend that to my clients too. Like both of you have to take a shower. If you're open to having a shower together, having sex or making love in the shower, it may not be traditional as to what it looks like in the bedroom, but it can definitely be a way to still connect. And it could be a way to even add some spice to the relationship since things may be looking very different as you are welcoming children or you're living life as parents. The other thing too that I've learned from you, Nazanin, is that it's okay to schedule sex. That is something that you shared in a podcast episode that we did together on my podcast. And as much as I know that as a woman, a mother, and a clinician, but when you said it, it was like, yes, sex doesn't always have to be spontaneous. We can absolutely schedule it, and that even though it's scheduled, that doesn't take the joy out of it. We can reframe that sentiment of like, oh, well, it's not going to be as enjoyable. No, what it means is that you are extremely interested in spending this time with your partner and reconnecting, that you want to make it a priority.
I love all the point you mentioned. And I think shower sex, just so many great things about it, right? I think there's a part of like, there's an element of people feel uncomfortable about their kind of body and smell and all of that. And also the act of being in shower with someone and so intimate and washing them and all of that can be also very connecting. It doesn't need to be certain kind of sexual behavior. Like I think for parents and many people, they think about successful sex is penetration or kind of like oral sex. Otherwise, it's not sex. But the idea is like thinking about what is the meaning of sex for you guys? If it's about connection, is it about passion? There's just so many different ways that you can explore that doesn't require your body to perform in a way, in this perfect way, because sometimes when we're exhausted, then we have like a huge mental load on our mind. It's hard to be able to kind of be as responsive in our body, but kind of doing a sensual massage in the shower or washing each other, that could be part of your sexual connection that you have. And I think it requires some mental adjustment. I want to hear your thoughts about that. kind of like having sex while your kid is home. I hear that for many parents, like new parents, it's very, very scary. It was like, I gave this talk once at the elementary school, and that was the question that women were asking. It's like, it's weird. They can maybe hear us. So what do you think about that?
I can understand that sentiment. And I've even recommended that clients get a sound machine, either in putting that outside of their children's rooms or outside of their rooms. And it just creates that kind of white noise sound. I think that could help to drown out. And then also, if you are a person that likes to be verbal or that likes to, get loud during your lovemaking, then consider that too. Maybe there's the closing of the doors, or if it's happening in the bathroom, then maybe there's not just the closing of the bedroom door, but closing the bathroom door. You can play the music, you can turn the television on. That there's so many other ways to create sound so that you still feel comfortable with your lovemaking with your partner. And maybe even you try something new. Maybe you make fun with it and say, okay, let's see who can be the quietest. Whoever isn't the quietest, then they have to, and place a wager on the table. They have to do the next full body massage or something of that nature. The other thing that is common for couples with children is to, if they have the support or the childcare, to schedule date nights, but not just schedule date nights, but to schedule one away in a hotel. And then even if that hotel is local, a lot of times we have this misconception that if I'm booking a hotel, it's because I'm out of town or it's because I've traveled. You could literally book the nicest or, the hotel that's in your budget down the street just to have the experience of lovemaking with your partner without the constraints of I have to be quiet or I have to keep my volume down or I have to remain in the bedroom or in the bathroom, that I don't have the flexibility to go other places throughout the house to make love to my partner. Book a night at a hotel and you can be as free as you would like to be.
I think that's such a great idea. And I think can be kind of like adding a level of kind of novelty and excitement. So you can almost bring another part of yourself to this date. Like you can role play. There's so many great potential with the kind of like even doing that minor adjustment. I think can be very powerful.